Oh, goodness. Welcome to video number 2 of the professional training series. I don't want to get all professional on you. I want you to be able to take all of this in your stride and to take some action and not get too overwhelmed by managing your money and getting your shit under control all in 3 videos. So, yes, this is a relaxed environment. I have my notes. Although I am professional, I have got lots to say that's very valuable. What I'm wanted to talk to you today about is the second thing that's holding you back when it comes to creating a rich life for yourself. So the first thing, which we covered off in the first video, was all about money, shame, and self-worth. And you would have uncovered some of those limiting beliefs and the self-doubt that you've had when it comes to money. It's usually a parent or an authority figure, or maybe sometimes it's even a movie that you watched that you really took on board when you were younger. So looking at those kinds of things and inquiring and delving into what your money story is and cleaning that up. And then moving into this one, which is number 2, about your money practices and the money practices that are keeping you stuck. And I'd really like to talk to you today about debt, because debt is where most people get stuck. It's where the head goes down in the sand. And don't look at me. If you're not looking at me, I'm not looking at you. Let's not look at each other. Debt is heavy. It's hard. It is, that feeling of it can be really quite overwhelming. And I'm speaking from experience because if you remember in my first video, I was talking to you about how we were $75,000 in consumer debt. And it was a lot of money and it was very, very heavy. However, I am very proud to say that we have got rid of all of that $75,000 worth of debt. And the way that we did it was, I'll get to that in a minute. But what I want to talk to you about is that feeling of heaviness when it comes to debt. We need to kind of turn that around and we need to move that into a lighter feeling. And one of the ways that I did that, instead of being overcome and overwhelmed by the feeling of the heaviness of the debt, was to look at it from a different perspective. And that different perspective is looking at it from the point of gratitude. I know, right? Who feels grateful about debt? Let me explain. When we get ourselves into that high vibrational state of appreciation and gratitude and love, that is when we can start to open ourselves. Because right now we're closed. We've got debt. We don't want to look at debt. We've got our head in the sand. We're all about debt. No, no, no. But we need to open ourselves so we can start attracting all the good stuff in, right? So when it comes to thinking about your debt, looking at your debt, you really need to step into a space of something that is going to make you feel powerful. And the first place to start is with gratitude and appreciation. And I know for me, when I looked at it and I went, okay, how the hell am I going to be grateful and appreciative about this $75,000 worth of debt with interest rates through the roof, with it all got to be paid off in a short period of time? How am I going to look at this with gratitude? And what I did was I thought about the person who I applied for the loan with. At some point, I applied to people about this loan and these loans and these debts, and they trusted me enough to pay that debt back. So I can look at that now from a space of gratitude. Does that make sense? I can be grateful that somebody trusted me. You know what? Do I trust myself? I do trust myself. Okay, so what are the money practices? What are the money practices that we can now put in place to bring that debt down? But always coming from that space of love, appreciation, and gratitude. So when you do not open your bank statement if you are feeling worried, stressed, or anxious, don't do it. Don't put that energy into it. I want you to, the next time you look at a credit card statement or something on your screen or an overdue notice, whatever it is, do not open it until you can get yourself into a position of gratitude. And, talking about other invoices there, electricity, telephones, all of those. Gratitude that we have electricity, gratitude that we have internet connections, gratitude that we live in a country where all of this is available to us. So getting yourself into that zone is really, really important. If you keep yourself in the low vibe around your debt, you're going to stay there. It's really important to lift yourself little by little into that high vibration. So you can share these things in the group, the Rich Living Room group, and there's people in there. I've got past students in there that will help you get yourself into a high vibe state when it comes to looking at your accounts. But what I wanted to do today was I'm going to give you two things. What, but they're both money practices. With your first money practice, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get yourself into a zone. Get yourself into the zone. So I'm looking at my computer screen now, right, at my desk. And my accounts are over there, and I've got some online accounts on my screen. So I get myself into a zone. I pump up the music. I get my heart going while I'm saying to myself, oh my God, shit, I don't want to pay bills. Oh my God, I got to pay bills. Until I can go, you know what? It's actually not going to be that bad because you know what? I've got that money over there and I could do that with that. And you know, actually, I can make that phone call. Your vibration will start to change. And when your vibration starts to change, other possibilities come in for you. Just excuse me, I have a very itchy nose. Okay, we're done. Hit pause, Michelle. No, stop it, not hitting pause. Let's go. So get yourself in the zone. I light a candle. I do. I light a candle and I have a candle by my desk. I also have my special crystals. I have essential oils. Whatever it is for you that gets you feeling good, gets you into a really good vibe without thinking about the debt. So just get yourself into that vibe state, right? It might be a meditation. It might be playing some really nice calming mantra music. It might be, I don't know, I'm sure you can think of something, but get yourself into a zone and into a state of gratitude and appreciation, right? Don't do anything until you're in that state. So that's my tip number one. Tip number two, two tips for video number two. We can do that. The second one is when we're talking about debt, there are a number of ways that you can go about paying debt off. There are some little subheadings to that. So the first thing we need to do is get into communication with our creditors, get into conversation about the bills and who we owe the money to. There are options for you. There's always options, but the first thing, definitely start getting into communication. The second thing is there are three ways that you can pay off your debt. One is called the debt stacking method. Another one is the snowballing method. And the third one is, I don't even know what the name of that one is. It's pay the one off that shits you the most first. We'll have to come up with a title for that one. So for me, I mean, you can go look up the other two, but for me, the one that works effectively every time, hands down, is because everything's energy, right? Money's energy. My feelings about money are energy. My feelings about the bill is energy. My feelings about my bank account is energy. My feelings about the holiday that I haven't had yet is about energy. So it's all about energy. Why don't you pay the credit card off or the loan or the debt? So pay the debt off. That's stressing you out the most. If you are looking at that debt, every time you open up the mail, you go, that was the personal loan I took out to buy my ex-boyfriend a car. I don't like it and I don't like him. That sucks. That's the one you pay off first and get it out of your life. Yes, there are strategic financial number ways to do it. The most financially acceptable way to do it is the snowballing method. It seems, you know, from paying the less interest and all that kind of crap. For me, it's all about energy. So I always went with which bill is stressing me out the most. So for me, it was a business bill that was associated with a bad thing that happened. So that's the one that I wanted out first. It was probably in the middle of the balance, if you were looking at it on a balance thing. But definitely when that one went, I went, phew, that's out of my life. Awesome. Okay, next. In the meantime, you're always paying the minimum with everybody and keeping them happy, right? Make sure you do that. But definitely, whatever you are feeling the worst about is what you tackle first, because when you get rid of that, you open yourself up to possibility to come in. abundance, prosperity, because you just opened yourself up a little bit. So here's the thing with money practices. Even though you walk away and you go, right, I can do this and I can do that, and step one, step two, step three, what happens is your mindset will start playing games with you. If you haven't cleared up your limiting beliefs, if you haven't removed your self doubt, the beauty about Money School is that we get to go through that step by step. And every time we make a practical implementation, we get to go through and highlight the beliefs and self doubt that are in the way and get those cleared so that we can keep going and keep moving forward. And over that 6 month journey, or 6 month dance, as I like to call it, the 6 month Money School dance, we actually get to clean up heaps of stuff because we're really in the work. We're really implementing the practices. We're really getting rid of the emotions and moving forward with those. We're really setting up our intentions and our purpose. And so we're able to pull everything apart. Anyway, I'll tell you more about Money School in video number 3. There's your tips for video number 2. There's 2 tips. I wrote number 2 down. What's number 1? Number 1 is always get yourself into a zone before you look at your debt. Get yourself into a high vibe state. Number 2, pay off the one that is pissing you off the most. Get your energy off and out of there and get it refocused into something else. Understand? I think that one, yep, did that work? Yep, I understand. All right, thanks for doing this one, video number 2. Off you go. And remember, if you watch this video today, the day that the email goes out, I will be live in the living room, happy to answer any of your questions. You could think of it as some personal coaching over the next couple of days. All right, thanks for joining me on video number 2. We'll see you for video number 3.